Hello, fellow civil engineers. Welcome to the training desk at New Way Designs. My name is Will, and I'm here to give you that express ticket to practical Civil 3D knowledge. These lessons should be slow enough so that you don't have to pause every 3 seconds, and fast enough to keep you awake. I appreciate your feedback, so please comment with suggestions and requests. Without further ado, let's begin today's lesson. GIS base map creation. This is often the first step in a feasibility study when a developer brings you a new piece of property. And remember, GIS stands for what, my friends? If you start out with geograph, you can just stop right there. GIS stands for get it surveyed. So remember that this is just a starting point for a rough design. And I'm going to give you the tools to create a GIS base map. The developer is putting their ideas out on you now to get that quick answer of, will this work or not? Let's create a GIS base map file and start drafting some ideas. I've got Civil 3D open over here, but let's go ahead and drift over to Google. I'm going to go to my favorite shapefile resource for North Carolina, and that's NC1Map. Here we can get parcels, imagery, streamlines, a few other things. Today, for the sake of the lesson, we're just going to show you how to import partial lines, the contours, assign their elevations, and get a background image for those goodies. So on one map, you can go to the direct data downloads here on the landing page. Let's do the small thing first. Parcels, select an area. We're going to go by county. Let's do McDowell and select a version, the most recent if you're interested in working forward from here and not looking for historical data. So let's hit get data. The download begins. Let's get our other piece started. Let's grab contours, McDowell contour file. We'll take this a little longer and we'll let it happen in the background. Get data. Let's get this Google out of our way. And here's our blank slate in Civil 3D. What I'm making is going to be a GIS base map, and those are existing conditions. So I want to start a new drawing with my existing template. Open. Here we are, a new drawing with my existing template. Layers all set up, styles, all of the above. Let's go to the settings tab of Toolspace. You can type in Toolspace to bring Toolspace up, or click the button up here. We have gone to the settings tab. Let's right click the drawing we're in, edit drawing settings, and here we're going to choose our coordinate system. We're working in North Carolina, and you can search through here. Find your general location. We're USA, North Carolina, and the coordinate system here is always that NAD 83 North Carolina State Plains US foot. If you know this short key, NC83F down here, you can just type that in and get to the same spot much faster. Let's hit apply and OK. And as soon as we've applied at that coordinate system, we can see the geolocation tab over here. And I want to turn the map on so that I can find the general location of my property and import specific regions of the shapefile so we don't get giant unnecessary files. Cool. Let's zoom out, get the big picture of things, and zoom back in. I'm working in McDowell, Marion. Let's do something up here in the center of town. We're gonna do this for a project we're working on. Let's find that exact spot and not waste any time. This is the area I want to work with. So I'm gonna draw a rectangle around the area that I think I want the parcel and contour information for. And this establishes an import zone for us. I'm going to now check our downloads folder to see if those files have arrived. And they come in as zip files, so we will need to unzip those. McDowell County parcels, here they are. I'm going to select everything within this folder, Control X to cut it, and just lay it back in the downloads here. I'm not going to keep all the information for this county, but if you have a GIS server, that's a good place to put your information for use again later. Once I've done that, the files will be accessible, and the command to bring those in, those shape files, is MAPIMPORT. We're going to bring in the polylines, so NC McDowell parcels, poly, shape, SHP, that's the extension. Hit OK. You don't have to worry about this. We already set it correctly. The spatial filter, that's why we drew the rectangle. So I'm going to click this button over here on the right hand side and grab the corners of my rectangle with the snaps. Input layer, we're not going to change. Drawing layer, fine. Object class, we can't edit. Coordinate system, good, it matches the drawing. Data, you want to click the expand button there, and you always want to create object data, so select that line and then hit select fields. You can uncheck things as you want to, but we're going to leave all of that information there and hit OK. OK again. Check import polygons as closed polylines and hit OK, and voila, they have arrived. We now have parcel lines in here. I'm going to bring up my properties bar and start doing a little layer cleanup here so things present well on our paper. Let's go to V, prop line. So that will be for our subject parcel here. And we'll grab the others, select similar, and move them to V, prop line, adjacent. Draw order, DR, send them to the back. Our subject line is in the front and a bit bolder, and the others are on a phantom line type and sent to the back. I think our contour file has arrived now, so let's flip back to our downloads, go into this zip folder, and bring them out to the downloads. Control X, back to the downloads, Control V. There they are, they're coming. That's going to take a second. And boom, there we have them. Let's go back and repeat the same command. Map import. One more time. Contour McDowell. Okay. All of this good. Spatial filter. Let's grab the limits of our rectangle. Okay, that. Expand the data, create object data, select fields. You definitely want these. Hit OK there, OK again. Checkbox import polygons as closed polylines, hit OK. And here they come. This takes a little longer because there's a lot more of those, a lot more vertexes, a lot more lines. And when these arrive, they're going to have a z-feet property. But the polylines are not going to have elevations assigned. So if you want to make a surface out of these and get them to major and minor layers really quickly, I have a workaround for that. So notice I have a polyline for the contour selected. Remember this layer, that's going to be important in the next steps. But notice that the elevation is 0, and the z feet down here actually contains the elevation of the polyline. Somehow we want to get this into the elevation property of the polyline so that we can add them to a surface. And at this point we need to save the drawing. So we're going to save it with my typical naming convention. QS, short key for save. I have a Dropbox folder already set up for this particular lesson. And we're going to call it C-GIS. That way we know this is an existing map, but not the true survey. I advise keeping actual survey information separate from GIS information, and keep both of those separate from the proposed line work that you do. And by separate, I mean separate files, and recombine the information with XREFs. Now we have this saved. I'm going to double down and save it again. Close this file. We have that saved now. We're going to swap to planning and analysis over here. And this has the handy dandy map task pane that I'm toggling on over here from the view tab. Close this. Drag this out a little bit to show you what's going on. We want to hit the Map Explorer tab here, and we're going to attach that drawing that we just saved so that we can pull the information from it. Sometimes it can be a little tough to find your folder in here because this isn't a traditional view, but I have good experience and know where this is at. So users, William McBrayer, that's me. And Dropbox is in here. Let's find the lesson. Boom. Select your file here and don't forget to press add, or otherwise you will not have this dynamic link that we need. Hit OK. Once we have the link here, we can add a query. And this is where the magic happens. So right click, hit define. We're going to do an and query type for property. Remember I said earlier to remember the layer, so check layer, values, contour McDowell. That's in there, hit OK. We got a little startup here, property layer equals contour McDowell. Now I can hunt everything on that layer in the other drawing. We are gonna do an expression here. And we got to alter the properties. So under options here, hit alter properties. We want the elevation of our polyline to be updated. So let's check elevation. And we're going to hit expression down here near the lower right. And from that, we can take the object data, contour McDowell. We want that Z feet to be the elevation of our polyline. Hit OK. And another add here, hit add, it's ready to go, hit OK. And we want to draw these polylines in here, so check that in the mode here, execute. And you can type in ZE for zoom extents. Here they are. And now, when you click any one of these and bring up your properties bar, you will notice that the elevation is not 0 anymore. And it is equal to the Z feet from that contour McDowell shapefile. That's perfect. Now we can make a surface from these. Now that we have these lines live in here, I want to go ahead and detach that drawing so nothing funny happens when we start to create a surface. So right click over here, detach. They're here and will be unbothered by anything we try to do. Don't need the task pane anymore, and I prefer to work in Civil3D when possible. So I'm going to swap back to Civil3D. My favorite space has disappeared, but let's bring it back, and we'll do so with the button this time. Click Tool Space. We can create a surface with buttons, or we can use the tool space. My preference is here in the tool space, so I'll right-click Surface. And you'll notice the option to create one is not here, and that's because I'm on the Settings tab. To build stuff, you gotta go to that Prospector tab. So, flop to the Prospector, right-click, Create. Always gotta name these things something that makes sense, so Existing GIS, EX-GIS, it's a good abbreviation there. I want to put it on a style for us. Let's go to existing 1 and 5. Open that up. Okay. At this point, we've created a surface, but not added any data. So let's add these contours to that surface. Back to the tool space. Expand surfaces. Expand the surface you want to work with. Expand the definition. Right-click contours. Click Add. I'm going to type in the description NC1 map, so we know that's where they came from. Hit OK. We have the pick box now. Going to grab them all in one go. There's our surface. I'm going to turn on some triangles so you can see the extra places this filled in. All of these gaps down here we didn't really want to fill in, and we don't need a large area for this particular project since there's not much off-site water flow directed towards us. Back to that existing 1 and 5 style, and I'm going to put a border around this thing that's the same as the border I had around this GIS. Open it up, use the handy dandy copy base command. Copy base 0, 0, 0. Back to our drawing 1, paste clip. And I'm gonna click this polyline. And I'll expand the surfaces, expand our surface, expand definition. Right-click boundaries, add. Gonna call it outer. Hit OK. And boom, our surface is just this zone now. I have the surface selected, and I want to get these polylines in my base file over there on their correct layers. And now that I have this style set up for the surface, I can go up to the top ribbon over here. Click Extract from Surface, scroll down to Extract Objects, click that, and I don't need the border to repeat, so I'm grabbing the major and the minor contour, hit OK. And we're just building this surface from contour, so if we want to rebuild it in the other drawing, we can just repeat those previous steps. And I will select similar on one of each layer there. Have all of those. The border is already there, so I'm not taking that with me. Copy base 0, 0, 0. Back to the GIS file. Paste clip 0, 0, 0. In case I need to get back to these contours, I'm going to leave them in here, but I'm just going to freeze them. Clean that up. Now we have a pretty good map set here. The default imagery is not very crisp that comes in with AutoCAD though. So I'm going to turn that off and bring in a georeferenced image from NC1 map that's much clearer than this. Map off. Let's save at this good stopping point. We are saved. So let's skip back to NC1 map. Let's grab a piece of imagery for our property. Above the direct data downloads here, we can go to View. Let's zoom into our little spot in Marion after hitting OK here. Where are we? There's Hickory, Morganton, Marion. Zoom, zoom, zoom. There's Main Street. Okay. You can see these lines. Those grids make the images. This is the one we want. I'm going to grab the 3 bands for 2022 here. You need both the SID and SDW extension. This one is the image, and this is the seam lines, the locator file. So click 1 and click 2. Those are going to land in our downloads folder. There they are. I'm going to take those, Shift, Control X. We're going to keep those in our Dropbox folder over here. Boom, there they are. The command to bring these images in is different than bringing in the shape files. So instead of map import, it is MAPIMPORT. Let's get back to our Dropbox. Here we are. The SID is the image file, so grab it, hit open. Ah, there it is, right where we wanted it. Hit apply and OK. Since it's already geolocated, we don't have to worry about any of these other items. It landed in front of our line work, so we need to get that out of the way. Let's send it to back with the command draw order. It's a right-click command, or you can type in DR and B for back, and it is behind our other line work now. And you guys might not have caught it moments ago, but I almost made the newbie mistake of not putting this image on a layer that will print. So let's get it off of my no plot layer and onto the image. That old question, why is it not printing? Always check your layer and layer properties. At this point, we've got a good looking base map and we're ready to start our feasibility study. But to recap, let's start back with what GIS stands for. It means get it surveyed. Here we can answer big ticket items, but that's all we're doing, not completing a final design on this. And we're going to keep this file separate from our true survey file. We're also going to keep both of those files separate from our proposed line work file. And we will unify them through XREFs. This will keep us from tripping over ourselves and showing existing work as proposed and proposed as existing in any which way that we could mix things up. On to the important commands from the day. For importing shapefiles, we use the command MAPIMPORT. Go ahead and select a relevant area first, and don't forget to create that object data before you hit OK. MAPINSERT, that command we use to import the SID image. That SID image was the geolocated image we got from one map. And remember that you can use planning and analysis to create a query that will assign elevations to your polyline based on properties that was brought in with the shapefile. That's a handy tool, and there's many other ways to use it. And thanks for joining us at the training desk of New Way Designs. I hope this lesson gives you the quick and easy way to creating your GIS base map. If you have any special requests or suggestions, you can leave them in the comments section or contact me directly at my email. I'll give you my email in the description. Can't wait to get the next lesson out to you, and I appreciate your feedback. It's time to get these glasses off and get some dinner. See y'all later.